Week 23 of the Premier League commences with Wolves hoping to turn around their fortunes when they clash with Leicester City at home. Liverpool will be desperate to retain their lead at the top of the Premier League table when they take on Crystal Palace at Anfield. In the match of the round, Arsenal are set to host Chelsea at the Emirates Stadium in a crunch London derby. Chelsea snuck past Newcastle in a 2-1 win last weekend, and the Blues will head into the match as 35 favourites at GiveMeBet. A win for Maurizio Sarri's side this weekend could see them leapfrog Spurs into third position on the Premier League table. Wolves vs Leicester Leicester City manager Claude Puel is under intense pressure to remain in the top job and desperately needs a win against Wolves this weekend. Leicester surprisingly fell to 2-1 loss to relegation-threatened Southampton last weekend. Despite the downturn in form, the Foxes continue to impress away from home with only 4 losses in their last 11 away games in the Premier League. Despite a 3-0 loss to Manchester City on Monday, Wolves will take some heart from their performance against the Premier League champions. Wolves played the entire second half with 10 men against a Manchester City side that has scored 59 Premier League goals this season. Wolves continue to struggle at home this season, winning 4 of their last 11 matches across all competitions. The home side have struggled for success against the Foxes, with their most recent win against Leicester coming back in the Championship in 2012. Bournemouth vs West Ham The Cherries are in danger of seeing their fine start to the season come undone after a 2-0 loss to Everton last weekend. Bournemouth have lost 9 of their last 12 matches in the Premier League and come up against a West Ham side that have won 8 of the last 10 matches across all competitions. The home side were beaten 3-1 by Brighton in their last outing, and could potentially be without star striker Callum Wilson for another week through injury. The visitors are coming off a sensational 1-0 win over Arsenal last weekend, and face a home side that has conceded at least 2 goals in 6 of their last 7 starts in the Premier League. While both sides will have their issues with injuries, West Ham's improving attacking threat will give them an edge against Bournemouth defence that has conceded 42 goals for the season. Liverpool vs Crystal Palace. Despite Liverpool coach Jurgen Klopp missing 3 key defenders this week, the Reds are unbackable favourites to claim all 3 points against Crystal Palace at Anfield. Liverpool are undefeated in their last 31 matches at home in the Premier League and are set to continue their best run of form at home since 1980. Liverpool have won 6 of their last 7 matches against Crystal Palace across all competitions and should extend their lead to 7 points at the top of the Premier League to keep the pressure on Manchester City. Roy Hodgson's side have lost 5 of their last 8 away games in the Premier League this season. The Reds' newfound sense of defensive stability in 2018-19 means that a win to 0 is on the cards against an Eagles side anchored in the bottom half of the league. Man United vs Brighton. Manchester United remain firmly in the hunt for a top 4 position after a 1-0 win over Spurs last weekend. The Seagulls have failed to make an impact away from Emirates Stadium, losing 22 of the 24 away fixtures in the Premier League. Brighton have failed to score on their last 2 trips to Manchester, and are coming off a 1-0 loss to Liverpool last weekend. Manchester United boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has the opportunity to become the first United manager to win his opening 7 matches for the club. The interim manager is expected to name an unchanged side, giving Marcus Rashford another chance to start ahead of Romelu Lukaku. Rashford has scored 4 goals in his last 6 games and will be a threat against Brighton side 8 points above the relegation zone. Newcastle vs Cardiff. A return to St James Park will offer little comfort to a Newcastle side facing a relegation battle in the Premier League. Last week's 2-0 loss to Chelsea saw the Magpies slip into 18th spot on the Premier League table. Rafael Benitez will be hoping his side will take some confidence from a 4-2 FA Cup win over Blackburn during the week. Newcastle have failed to win their last 5 matches at home across all competitions, and a win this weekend will be vital for the home team to climb out of the relegation zone. Neil Warnock's side have won 3 of their last 4 matches in the Premier League, but have struggled away from home. The Bluebirds have lost 17 of the last 18 away matches against Newcastle, with the home side recording 5 goals against Cardiff in their last 4 games. Southampton vs Everton. The Saints will be buoyed by their performance last weekend, recording an upset 2-1 win over Leicester away from home. The Saints have won 3 of their last 6 matches in the Premier League, but remain only 1 point clear of the relegation zone. Marco Silva's Everton side continue to struggle away from home this season, and have only won twice away from home this season. Everton have failed to score in 4 of their last 6 visits to St Mary's, but are coming off a 2-0 win over Bournemouth at home. The Saints have been inspired under new boss Ralph Hasenhüttl, and while the Toffees have had their struggles away from home, both sides are tipped to share the Premier League points. Watford vs Burnley. Sean Dyche's Burnley side travel to Vicarage Road to face a Hornets side that have won their last 4 matches. Burnley will be confident of claiming all 3 points after a 2-1 win over Fulham last week, following on from their 1-0 over Barnsley in the FA Cup. Watford were able to bounce back from an inconsistent December period to record a 2-1 win over Crystal Palace away from home in Week 22. The Hornets remain in 7th position in the Premier League and within sight of a Europa League spot. The home side have seen over 2.5 goals in the last 8 matches against Burnley across all competitions, and given the inconsistency of both sides, a draw with both sides to score is the favoured result. Arsenal vs Chelsea. The clash of the round sees rivals Chelsea lock horns with Arsenal in the London derby. Fresh off a 2-0 win over Newcastle, the visitors have the chance to leapfrog Spurs into 3rd spot on the Premier League ladder if they can claim a win against the Gunners at Emirates Stadium. The stakes are high for Unai Emery's men, with Manchester United 1 point behind Arsenal in 5th place on the ladder. The Red Devils' form surge has coincided with a dip in form for Arsenal, winning only 2 of their last 6 matches. While the Gunners' title ambitions have been extinguished for another season, Emery will now be focused on keeping his side in the top 4. Arsenal striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang remains the key man for the Gunners. The Gabonese talisman has been in top form this season, scoring 8 goals at the Emirates this season in what looms as an entertaining draw. Sunday 20 January, Huddersfield vs Man City. Manchester City flexed their Premier credentials with a 3-0 win over Wolves, following on from their 9-0 drubbing at Everton in the League Cup. Pep Guardiola's side have closed to within 4 points of Liverpool at the top of the English Premier League table. City have scored 21 goals in their last 3 matches across all competitions, and should have no issues disposing of a managerless Terriers side in a relegation battle. Huddersfield have failed to win their last 9 matches in the Premier League, and have failed to score in 3 of their last 4 matches in the top flight. City will be expected to make a statement of intent and win comfortably against a Terriers side headed for relegation at the end of the season. Fulham vs Spurs. Harry Kane's ankle injury has gifted a call-up to veteran Fernando Llorente to the Spurs starting line-up this weekend. Kane will be on the sidelines for the next 2 months after his side's 1-0 loss to Manchester United last week. Spurs have won 7 of their last 8 Premier League matches away from home, and will be confident against a Fulham side fighting relegation. Fulham have had a disappointing season, after showing some serious ambition in the transfer market, and relegation would loom as a financial disaster for the club. The home side have seen under 2.5 goals in their last 4 Premier League games, and while they remain competitive, Spurs should have no issues recording a win to 0.